Thomas wants to get it in quickly. Does to Lambier. Stolen by Bird on the cut to DJ. Yes, and a foul.
The inbound pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
James catches, puts up the three. Won't go. Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to shot.
A chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long-range three.
Happy Monday night, everyone. Welcome to 48 Minutes Podcast. We are here after some weird technical difficulties to get us started, but we're a half hour late, but better late than never, guys.
My bad. My bad. That's on me.
It's all no, it's your computer's fault. It's not you, man. You're good. Tim is out on paternity leave. Congratulations to Tim and Grace.
Yeah, man.
I'm the dad now. He's joined the dad club. I'm the lone guy here without any children.
Timmy D is a papa.
Is a proud father.
Congrats, Tim. Congrats. So we're
Man,
holding down the fort.
awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. It's crazy. Holding down the fort today with Ben Brown. How we doing today, Ben?
Man, after technical difficulties, I'm great now, man. Yeah,
You're good.
we're good.
You don't sound like you're in a sewer or a tunnel.
Yeah, no. I mean, just
underwater.
nutty stuff.
All right.
Yeah,
and
just
Josh,
absolutely nice stuff.
how we doing tonight?
Doing good, man. I'm glad to be down from Mile High, the altitude. Tell you what, man, doing that stuff for just a couple days is definitely rough. But I'm glad to be back home. Kind of missed it a little bit, and glad to be back here with you guys, man. Get ready to talk some NBA basketball.
He comes back and he's already got a Utah hat. Like he just immediately leaves town. Just
Hey, the Jazz embraced me, man. They made me feel like I was one of them.
The Jazz are kind of a hip team to like right now. They
definitely are.
They're definitely a hip team, just as hip as they were when Gordon Hayward had that really good year and everybody was kind of getting behind him. So, good for Utah, good for the Jazz. They got a good young team and it's awesome. But we've got a lot to talk about tonight. So a lot's gone on this week, a lot of weirdness going through the slugs of the NBA season. I feel like January to the All-Star break is always kind of a slow grind, and but that doesn't mean things can't get juicy here. So this week, first thing we're going to talk about today, the Philadelphia 76ers. They have won 7 straight games, and now they are 2.5 games behind Boston in first place. They have been on an absolute tear. I feel like people aren't talking about them enough. And this is a team that's had some good wins recently. Like, not just little dinky wins. They had the other night against the Denver Nuggets. They took them on, beat them 126-119. Embiid, huge game, 47 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists. And I know this is commonplace, but those are absurd numbers. When are we going to stop thinking that this is normal?
Yeah, man. They actually, they've gone to, they're actually down to the Magic right now, 105-100 as we're talking. But they played really well. I think the key, there actually have been 2 keys. One, Embiid is just playing out of his mind. He's had a really good run. I mean, he's got to be top 3 MVP talks right now. I mean, he's been incredible. But it's also been a little bit of a resurgence for James Harden. A lot of people kind of counted him out after the trade. where he didn't seem like he could fit anywhere. It seems like he's starting to fit in Philly. They found a way to get that thing to click. They're getting good quality minutes out of a lot of people. I do like, they've got PJ Tucker come off the bench. I like off the bench. They've gotten some really good. Montrezl Harrell actually has been a good pickup for them off the bench. So they've got some guys there, and I like that group. I like their cores starting to come into their cores definitely starting to come into play as far as like Embiid, Harden, Tobias Harris. I think those guys are starting to play a little bit better. So I think has caused that resurgence a little bit, and I think that is it's a big time thing when you get the play that you're expecting to get out of those guys finally to be where they are. And the biggest one I think has been Harden because he's played really well.
Yeah, let me be the first to tell you. So this weekend, like I was telling you guys, I got to go out to Utah and experience a Jazz game, and the day of the game, I was watching that Denver Nuggets Sixers game on TV before we had left, and when I flipped it on, I was like, "Oh man, Denver's about to run away with this thing." They were up 15. It was like 99-84, and then Philly went on this crazy run and like went up by 10, like with the blink of an eye. And you're right, a lot of that was James Harden in that run. He had a couple step back threes, had a couple good passes, Maxey, but then of course Embiid was just playing out of his mind. And they started having like all these guys like step up in this run, like Niang, for instance. Like he came in and hit like 3 threes like right off the bat when he came in the game. And it's like little stuff like that that kind of gets their team going. Like they have these guys that like they don't necessarily contribute all the time, but they have these little sparks where they get going. And, guys like Tyrese Maxey, like, he's the Energizer bunny when he comes in. He can get going and he's hot, man. And like it's just, they were talking about at one point, like maybe moving Harden and like moving him into the starting point guard position because he was playing that well. But their team is constructed to win. And the other guy I can't say enough about, he doesn't always do it on the offensive side, is Melton. If you guys watch this guy play, man, defensively, he's about as good as you get on the defensive side of the ball, man. He's deflecting balls. Every time you look at him, he's usually 2 or 3 steals and a couple blocks. And like he's just kind of all over the place, kind of guarding the guys, next best guys. And he's actually moved himself into the starting lineup because of that. Mm-hmm. So I think he's been a huge contributor to kind of what they're going on. It just feels like their whole team is just clicking at the right moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, and the weird thing is, and I've said this before, but Joel Embiid, he's quietly having probably the best season of his career right now. He's averaging 33.8 points a game, which is a high for him at the moment.
Hey, while you're talking, can we just talk about how much of a travesty it is that this guy did not get voted as an all-star starter?
Oh, we're going to get to that later. We're going to get to that later because we're going to talk about the all-star starters. But yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with this. But also, Embiid's field goal percentage, best it's ever been, 53.4%. Just having a career year. What more does this guy have to do to become MVP?
Well, man, that's exactly what was going to be my point. Like I know, like people's infatuation with Nikola Jokic, and well deserved. I mean, I don't. It's not a knock on Jokic because I do think he is an outstanding player. But dude, Joel Embiid has been so good. Not saying that those other guys haven't been, but there hasn't. If you look up MVP, by definition, you can't tell me that like he doesn't deserve a lot of the credit for their win streak and for how well they've played. And this isn't. Last year, I think he was the MVP, and it came down to a close vote when it came to Jokic. But there's not a guy outside of there's very few guys that can just put their team on their back and just go. And I think he's just one of those guys. I don't think that he gets enough credit, and I don't think he gets enough MVP credit from writers and people in the league. I mean, he's been incredible.
Yeah, I think this is a year where we really need to start finally. I mean, he is at his peak talent at this point.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's crazy is like the other night against the Nuggets. So the Nuggets are widely considered to be the best team in the West. They are the best team in the West. They're being favored right now to go to the NBA Finals. And you look at the game with them that they had on Saturday night, and they have very similar numbers right now as Denver. And Embiid was able to hold Jokic to 24 points while he put up 47 and 18. I mean, he could not be stopped. And I start to get the feeling that he's starting to feel more and more disrespected week after week. And I'll be honest with you, I would not want to run into the Philadelphia 76ers in the playoffs this year. And if they end up going up against the Boston Celtics, which if it started today and they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's probably who I would say, I mean, the East is great right now. We got Giannis, the Bucks, but what a matchup that would be. And the thing that's going to be good here, I mean, I know are they up right now? Is Philly up on?
No, they are not up. They're actually down.
They're down by 7
1
in 4
2.
minutes.
Yep.
So tonight's game, they're playing the Magic. They're playing the Magic again on Wednesday. They're playing the Spurs on Friday, and then they're playing the Knicks on Sunday. So they can definitely, if they can come back tonight, they could push this, to a 10-11 game streak without any problems. Next Wednesday, however, they are going into Beantown.
Yes,
they will be taking on the Boston Celtics, and that is going to be must-see TV. So I am extremely, extremely excited for what Philly is bringing right now, even if it's quiet. I think it's just, we're just not talking about it that much. But
I'm really sad that game's on ESPN though. I really like for that to be a TNT game.
A TNT game. It should be. That's the best one.
That's the only bad part about it. But
I know.
Other than that, that'll be.
Hey,
good.
Ben, the only thing I want to refute about that is how many times have we been on the show and one of us has picked Joel Embiid to win the MVP at, how many ever years we've been doing this, right? I think Tim might have said he might have picked Embiid this year.
Yeah.
I want to say last year I think I picked Embiid. And this is probably the first time where he's not gotten hurt for a long extended period of time. And he's been more of the focal point of the team and how it operates. And like Sean said, he's having his best year ever. The problem with that is Jokic is also having his best year ever right now.
Yeah.
And Luka is probably having his best year right now. And all three of these guys are the centerpiece of their teams. And then there's some guys down the list, that we'll end up talking about at some point, Tatum and Giannis and, Shea and Ja. But when you look at the MVP tracker, which I always look at this all the time, is it's usually pretty spot on. Right now it's got Jokic at a 66 probability percentage chance of winning the MVP and Joel Embiid at 11. And I would love to know how this comes about. Especially
why?
Especially when these two dudes just played each other and Jokic pretty much just got destroyed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It is. I love that matchup too because they're both such unique players. And also, and I want to talk about. We'll talk about this later in the All-Star. We start talking about the All-Stars, but we gotta bring back the center position. It's a legit position. I hate that it's just 3 bigs, 2 wings. It's not. I don't know. I hate it. There's something about it. But anyways, moving on to some news in Ben Brown's favorite team's world. Myles Turner has secured a 2-year, $60 million extension. You can hear the Lakers fans crying all the way from LA. The hope is over. That's probably why LeBron was really falling to his knees the other day. He realized that the Myles Turner dream was over.
Yep.
That's what happened. So well deserved here. Myles Turner is
Yes.
having a career season. There was a
Yep.
lot of talk this year whether they unload him, whether he would actually re-sign with this team. And here he is. He is back in a 2-year deal, and they've also restructured this year's salary, I think, as well. He's averaging 17 points a game, almost 8 rebounds, an assist, 2.5 blocks, and he is shooting a career best 54% from the field. I mean, just an outstanding player. How big is this for the Pacers organization, Ben?
I think it's huge because I do think that he's a centerpiece, especially for us defensively. He does such a great job with us having all this young talent. It is nice to have Myles Turner there to be able to anchor the defense, and it's also nice that he's a scoring threat on the inside. And gives us a presence on the inside. So that's been good. We've fallen out of like the playoff run. We're a little bit back in the standings. We did lose Tyrese Halliburton, who was playing at a all-star level. He's been out the last couple weeks. Not sure when he's supposed to return. But if we're talking about building a team and building a culture, I think Myles Turner is a great person to have in your locker room. And I think he's a great person to have on the floor with all the things that he can do and the versatility and the defense that he provides. And he is a legit scoring threat at the center power forward position. So I'm excited if we can hold on to our other young talent. I really do think that we're building something special there. We're a year or so away. If Halliburton comes back and is healthy, we may be able to challenge for one of those play-in game spots. But I do think that the key to all that is Myles Turner and getting him signed and getting that off the books and out of the way, so it's not hanging over us all season and then going into the offseason. So big sign by the Pacers. I was super excited to see it, especially with the young talent that we have going in through the rest of this year and going on into the future.
Ben, I know, like I said, you're our resident Pacers fan, so we kind of shoot to you for some things. One of the things I'm super impressed about Myles Turner is that, I don't think people really look at him as like a shooter, but he's shooting 39% from 3-point range this year, which is his career high. And not only, I'm not saying that he shoots it a lot, but he's averaging 4 attempts a game. Like that's a lot for a big guy, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think he's really worked on that in the last couple of years as far as being able to stretch the floor. That's something that he's worked on. And as a whole, I mean, outside of Buddy Hield, we don't have a whole lot of different shooters. So I think with his position, he's able to stretch the floor a little bit and be able to do that. So, once you get Halliburton back to be able to distribute, you have Buddy there to be able to shoot. Ben Matherin's been incredible. He's been just phenomenal as a rookie. So it's really looking good. I'm excited about our core and our future for sure.
Your boy Ben Matherin took down my Bulls the other night, and
yeah, dude.
I turned off the game and I was like, "Well, that's it. We're done. We're done." And I mean that is no disrespect to Ben Matherin or the Pacers, but I was like, I've had it. I've absolutely had it with that team.
Do you feel like me, Sean, where like there was a stretch where I was like, "Oh man, we're starting to play some good ball here," and then as soon as it happens, it's like, nope, we were just fooling. We were just joking.
No, and this is why I've been beating that drum all year. Just go ahead and trade everybody. This team's not going to win anything. We're a perpetual 8 seed. It's their most valuable asset is their draft pick that they have, and it's top 4 protected, and they have decided to stay the course for financial reasons, so people can come see Zach LaVine make a couple threes and not play defense. Very cool. I love it. It makes me really happy every time I turn it on. I pretty much stopped watching Chicago at this point, but anyways, that's a whole different topic. Moving on. The biggest news of this week since Saturday was the Boston Celtics LA Lakers game. So the Lakers visited Boston on Saturday night. They were at full. They had Anthony Davis there. They had Patrick Beverley with a camera there. They had and they had it all. So the way that the game shook out, the game was tied. LeBron James went full speed for a layup on the left side of the basket, and he was blatantly fouled by Jason Tatum. Blatantly fouled. However, they did not call it.
Mm-hmm.
And this caused LeBron to have probably the biggest hissy fit of his entire career. And that's saying something, but it was one of the most dramatic things I've ever seen. However, he was truly fouled.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very blatant foul, and they end up going to overtime, and Boston ends up winning.
Yeah.
Which was, and of course, you know, after the game, the referees, admitted, oh yeah, he should have been called for a foul, which is the dumbest thing ever. They need to just get rid of this whole
stupid. The last 2 minute report.
The
terrible.
The last 2 minute report is ridiculous. It's silly. Why even do it at this point? But I want to go to you, Josh, on this one. So as a full Jordan supporter and defender, and watching all of LeBron James's career since 2003, where does this rank with you in terms of meltdowns from LeBron?
I actually think it's number one. Like, I'm not even joking. When he had that reaction to the call, and I'm shocked he didn't get a technical. After watching them call the tech on Schroeder for whatever it was that he did, I'm shocked that didn't warrant him a technical, like, on the floor at that moment. I mean, he was like begging, pleading, running around, talking about he got hit on the arm. He like got down on his knees and prayed, and then rolled over and fell to the ground and was, I mean, it was like Oscar worthy. It was borderline ridiculous. I watched that and I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening right now.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I've seen a lot of LeBron meltdowns over the years. I saw one back. I want to say when he was playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Bulls ended up beating them. I think it was that Nate Robinson team, and I want to say Luol Deng ended up getting a clean block on him at a last-second shot. And of course, LeBron thought he was fouled. He wasn't. And he threw a pretty big fit on this, but this was like a whole other level. And I feel like the Lakers' frustrations are finally just completely boiling over to a point where LeBron is absolutely have it. But here's my devil's advocate thing with LeBron. So LeBron is currently number 5 in all-time attempts at the free throw line. Number 5. So, and there have been a lot of times over the years where, and I'm not defending this, but there has been some ticky-tack fouls that he's been able to have called while he's shooting, and he's been able to benefit from this. And he's gotten a little bit older. He didn't get a call in Boston, and he's upset. So do we think this is a crying wolf situation where they're just kind of like whatever about it now, and he's not getting the calls that he once did, or was this just a totally blown call on? Well,
I think that this is kind of a buildup of the last 5 or 6 games where there have been some questionable calls at the end of these games that the Lakers are just not getting. Like the Russell Westbrook shot that he took where Embiid was like holding on to his arm and he missed the shot. They didn't call it. I saw something today. They had said had stuff had been called the right way these last 5 or 6 games and they went in the Lakers' favor and the Lakers won these games, they'd be sitting in the 6th spot right now.
Wow.
Based off of wins, losses. Like if it was reversed and they had won all those games versus losing. But I want to read you guys this real quick because I actually pulled up the 2-minute report. And for everybody who was, especially LeBron James, who was talked about all these calls that are costing them games, here's a breakdown of what they missed, of what they said they missed. Missed offensive foul on Anthony Davis with 32 seconds remaining. Officials determined Davis pushed Brown into Dennis Schroeder at the beginning of the drive. Beverly ended up dunking a putback, giving the Lakers the lead. Missed foul on Jason Tatum on LeBron James with 1.8 seconds left. Would have been awarded 2 free throws. We already got that one. A missed defensive foul on Russell Westbrook for fouling Tatum with 1:37 in overtime. Westbrook fouled Tatum while he attempted to set a pick. You start reading that stuff, and you start looking at the way the game kind of flowed into it. Like ultimately, end of the game, like last shot of the game, like the refs have to be on that. And ultimately, like LeBron should have been at the free throw line. Like I'm not going to deny that. But when you start looking like backwards and you start seeing some of these things that were missed, you're like, okay, this is kind of a thing that caused us to roll into this last second shot where this foul got missed and now it turns into this catastrophe. And I've always been a big advocate of one play out of 48 minutes to me cannot dictate why you're in the position where that call is that much important than all the other calls that were missed throughout the game. So had the game went different at some point, like you were probably not even in that position where LeBron's driving to the basket to get that foul, but that call still has to be made regardless. You know, whether it's helping Boston or hurting the Lakers, or it helps the Lakers or hurts Boston, like a foul is a foul in that instance. And you have to make that call no matter what. And there was a ref that was standing right there, and I don't know what he was looking at, but he definitely was not looking and paying attention to the fact that Tatum smacked him on the arm. I know that.
Yeah. No, I think the game as a whole was a really good game, actually. I mean, it was back and forth, and you know, there were some lead changes at the end there, and you know, but I just, to me, I just don't think LeBron likes his team. Like,
well, why would you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you. I think he's frustrated by his team. I think he's frustrated by the fact that he's playing at the highest level still at year 20. He knows he has minimal years left to play, and now I'm wasting. And truth be told, if we're being honest with ourselves, he is an MVP candidate. If we're being honest, I mean, the guy's playing out of his mind at 40 years old, or 38, or whatever he is. But he's playing at the highest level still. He's still doing all the things that we saw him do when he was 18, 19, 20 years old. He's still doing all those things. And I think he's just frustrated that he's losing a season. Like, when you get to year 20, the scoring record is nice. All that stuff is cool. But it's still about winning games and championships. Yeah. So when he gets fouled and gets hits like that, I agree with you, Sean. I think that was all the frustration of that season. And he just floated on the ground like like Florida Evans on Good Times. Damn. I mean, you know, he just flailed on the ground and like there's no excuse for that. And I know he's frustrated. He's LeBron. I get it. But bro, like for him to just and here's the thing that was interesting to me, to watch him just lay in that position for a full minute after it's already been decided. Like, you're not going to get the call. It's not reviewable. For you to just sit there and lay on the ground with your head in your elbows, like I mean,
It almost reminded me of Michael Jordan after winning the '96 title in the
Right.
locker room, just
You know,
laying on the
laying
ground.
there.
But it was completely reversed in a much
Different-
worse situation.
different outcomes.
You know what I mean?
Different
I'm like-
outcomes. Different
Yeah,
outcomes.
I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like I get it. Was it a foul? Yes, you were fouled. You're LeBron James. You probably should get that call. Yes, I get that too.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of times, like you said, there have been plenty of times where nobody's touched him and they've called fouls. There have been plenty. Like that's just a game of basketball.
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a blue moon, they're gonna miss something. It's not gonna go in your favor. And I feel
Right.
like over the years, LeBron has benefited more than not.
1,000%.
If that makes sense.
1,000%.
But once again, I'm gonna say this doesn't make it right.
No,
They definitely
does not.
They missed it. It wasn't a foul. It wasn't a ticky-tack foul. It was a shot-altering foul at
Yep.
the basket, which
Absolutely.
determines the outcome of the game. So,
Yeah.
however, they also could have won in overtime. There's
Yep.
that too. We could
Yep.
also say they should.
But no, they lost.
It was
They
tied.
lost. Yeah, they lost that game as soon as Pat Bev grabbed the camera. They lost that game as soon as LeBron laid on the floor for a minute. They were like, "We're done. We have nothing left." You
They have
know.
nothing
and-
left.
But like I said, if you go back earlier in that game, I talk about Pat Bev getting that dunk off of the Anthony Davis offensive foul. I mean,
Mhm.
like technically, like if that gets called an offensive foul at that point, Boston gets the ball. Let's say they go down and score. Like, are the Lakers really even in that position for that shot to even matter? So, like I said, it goes
Right.
both ways.
Yeah.
Like they're complaining about. So, like if Boston loses that game, right? Let's flip this around. Boston loses the game. Is Boston complaining about the refs right now missing that call? That like, hey, you gave Pat Bev a basket. That costed us where we shouldn't even have been in overtime. We should have won the game. Like,
Right.
is it altered the other way?
No, because Boston's 1,000 times better than the Lakers. The Lakers are scratching and surviving. The Boston's in first place. Like they'd be like, it was a missed call. We know it's a missed call, but we're gonna move on. Like Bron is literally. I feel like Bron and the Lakers are literally fighting for their season every game. So, he's sitting out. I think either tonight or tomorrow. Now they're talking about like his foot is sore. It wouldn't surprise me if he sits out through the All-Star break. Like, what's it matter if he plays or not? He can break that record after the All-Star break. Like, it doesn't really, you know what I mean? So, like,
Well,
I think that he's kind of I think he's just frustrated.
And so it is tonight. So he is setting out tonight.
Okay,
Him and Anthony Davis are both setting out tonight against Brooklyn, who don't have Kevin Durant at the moment.
They do
Correct?
not. Kevin Durant is still out.
He is still out. So
Yep.
So they're gonna go in. It's gonna be whatever. But this is not. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a game. Anything can happen in the NBA, and the Lakers are currently in 13th place in the West out of 15th. They are approximately 2.5 games out of the play-in, which isn't terrible, but a lot can happen. Above them, they've got the Trailblazers, the Thunder, the Jazz, the Suns barely hanging in there, and the Pelicans that are having a huge drop-off. They've lost 8 of their last. They've lost 9 of their last 10. So they've been on a huge slide. We were talking about how no one would want to play the Pelicans, and here we are. We don't know if they're going to make it in. So a lot can happen. But if LeBron actually is serious about making the playoffs right now, I feel like he needs to buck up and be playing. This was the fact that this was called 2 days in advance, them setting out.
Yeah.
It almost feels like some sort of a weird protest to me. So, but
Well,
I don't know.
Speaking though, what you just said about the Lakers being in the 13th spot, they have 27 losses. The Clippers are sitting in the 4th spot with 25 losses. That's 10 teams, right?
Yeah.
That's 10 teams within 2 games of each other. That determines if you get a home game, a home series in the playoffs, or if you're playing in a play-in game. Like,
Josh,
how nuts is that?
I never even know. I didn't even look at that. They're literally 4.5 games out of being in fourth place.
That's like the most.
hysterical.
I've never seen a standing like this ever in my life in basketball.
That is hysterical. I never even. They are literally 11 games out of first, but literally 4.5 games, and they can be in fourth.
Well, and they're only
incredible.
They're only 5 games out of the 3 spot.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It is. But the West is weird this year. It is a truly wild West. I mean, I don't know what to think about the Suns. There's a lot of teams I have a lot of questions about. Except, we do know the Denver Nuggets are good. I also would not want to face the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs either this year. Regardless, no. I think they're playing. I'm saying they're playing possum.
There is a definite argument for every team in the Western Conference except for San Antonio and Houston, who are like, "Hey man, we packed it in already. Hey, we're tanking for Vic. We're tanking for Vic."
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to our final topic of the evening. So, came out the All-Star starters, the 2023 All-Star starters this year. And this is what we got. So we talked a little bit about this the other day, but our guy Joel Embiid snubbed in this. So this is a fan voting thing. A lot of people don't like it. I still kind of dig it. I think it's one thing that the fans kind of control. If they want to vote, some rando into the starting lineup, they can. So, and that's probably how our boy Andrew Wiggins made it in. Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but how are we Josh? How are you particularly feeling about these starters? Are you cool with them, or are you feeling there's some major snubs here?
Super major snubs. But real quick, while we're on here, my buddies from Utah are on here commenting. So with that being said, I want to say hi to Miss Sienna. She sent a message. So that's Ben and I's friend's Jay-List's daughter, who I bonded with very, very quickly when I was out in Utah. So we pretty much hung out all week and played in the house with the dogs. And so I had to say what's up to her before she goes to bed. So hi, Sienna. But I don't have a problem with 4 of the guys that are on this graphic on the West. But let me say, first of all, I am partial to guys that are playing basketball and guys who have not missed tons of games. So automatically, if this was me and I was able to sub 2 guys out right now, Curry and Zion would be gone off the starters on the Western Conference. And I love Curry to death. I think Curry, when he's in the game, he's fantastic. But I believe that there should be 2 other guys that are sitting in that graphic. And I told you guys this before. I think I sent in a text message. Domantas Sabonis should be an all-star starter. And
I like it.
I think that guy has played his rear end off.
Yep.
And deserves it. And then Shea, SGA should be the other starter.
Yep.
So
I like it.
Those would be the 2 guys I would switch out. On the East, I don't really man, it's really hard. I don't know, man. That net connection up at the top, I love both of those guys. Yeah. Like, they both are just straight ballers. But like, again, KD's not played for a really long time. Kyrie, sometimes I want to kick him in the face. And then sometimes he's out there and I'm just like, man, you're the world's most talented basketball player ever. But again, the fact that Joel Embiid is not starting is absolutely a train wreck.
He's gonna get voted in regardless. He'll be there. I mean, he's having, but I think this is a popularity contest, and I will say this: I am very happy that Donovan Mitchell has been voted into the East here.
Oh, me too. That's why I didn't.
A season. he has just been a super exciting player. But I kind of agree with you, Josh, about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Steph, Zion. These guys have not played. I feel like there should be some sort of a, uh, minimum of games you should be able to play to be able to be an all-star starter. And if not,
Mhm.
the next person who was voted below them should be the next one up. Now this year is going to be a little bit different. So in years past, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've never really liked this format. The All-Star, I know every year they try to be innovative and they try to shake things up, and we don't have you know, at one point we have the East and the West, and then over the years, they had cool jerseys that were
Right.
historically awesome and everything. I feel like the jerseys have kind of gone downhill over the last couple of years, which always sucks. But the big thing to me, this whole schoolyard picking your team is I feel like it's run its course. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like it's run its course. And this year they're going to be doing it right before tip off. So
Yeah. Woof.
so how do you feel if you're that last guy picked? If you're Rudy Gobert, how do you
Why
feel
you gotta
if you
put
would
Rudy
grade-
Gobert?
I mean,
Well,
That's funny.
we don't even know who the reserves are yet.
Listen,
I mean,
man.
we don't.
Yeah, listen. Sometimes you can just do too much. Like I feel like they're just doing too. Listen. Give me all-star jerseys back. Give me the traditional. If you want to vote in the stars, great. And then you get your guy. Like, give me traditional East versus West. Give me traditional all-star game. The thing I miss the most are the jerseys. Those all-star jerseys were always dope. Give me the all-star jerseys. Give me, I don't need all this other stuff and picking teams and. I don't know. It was cool the first time, what I mean? But now, like you said, Sean, I think it's kind of it's running its course a little bit. I don't know. I'm with you, Sean. Like I think it's kind of running the gamut, and I like that they're trying different things, but
Yeah, the NBA is constantly trying to be innovative every year with everything that they do, and I do always appreciate that. But there's some stuff from the past that I think just didn't need to be messed with. And like I said, I would love for them to re-add the center position. I think that is a legitimate position in basketball. I hate that we're just treating every single position like, oh, it's a big or it's a small or whatever. And it gave an opportunity for people that may not typically be in an all. I mean, so there were a couple years I think where Andrew Bynum was an all-star, and I think that's really when things like started to change, because it was kind of like, well, he's going to be an all-star due to default. We have no other decent West centers right now, so that happened. But it was kind of fun though, because it's like, yeah, you should kind of respect that guy is the best at his position in the West. However, you also look at, like, right now, Giannis, while he is not technically a center, is kind of a center, but there's not really, with the exception of Jokic, there's no center on either of these teams. So, I mean, that's it. So I don't know. I feel like that should come back. I used to love going to McDonald's and actually filling out the ballots when I was a kid.
Absolutely,
there were a lot of,
man.
There was a lot of fun stuff about it. That is kind of gone to the wayside. And the dunk contest last year was abysmal, just really, really not great. And they're going to bring it back this year. We got a G League player in it. Mac McClurg's in it. I don't know how they're going to drag that up from what happened last year.
So Sean, real quick, while you're talking about that, I saw a comment where Aaron Gordon was like, if I ever make an all-star game, I'm in the dunk contest.
Yeah.
Is there a way where guys like him can be talked into doing the dunk contest, even though they're not affiliated with the all-star game? Because if you really think about it, I mean, can we argue that may have been the last great dunk contest we had? Was one that he was in?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was the last absolute great dunk contest, and that was, and while
he got hosed though, didn't he?
he got hosed. But I wouldn't say that Zach LaVine, wasn't great in that. He was.
Oh
but
no, he was absolutely.
What Aaron Gordon was able to do in that was, I mean, that he is the greatest slam dunk loser that I've ever seen, and that's going back even to the Neek days with Jordan. Like he was the best loser in the history of the All-Star game. So, or the slam dunk contest at the All-Star game. But there's one thing I would like them to bring back, and they did it just for a couple of years. And this was in I want to say the mid to late 2000s. They did an actual game of horse. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that.
Kevin Durant played in a game of horse, and it was outside, and it went on for probably like 45 minutes. It was just, I don't know what it was. It was a lot of fun, like stuff like that to me, like schoolyard stuff like that to me was cool. But this whole picking your teams thing, I'm over it, man. I am over it. So, I think we're going to bring back the full court heave next week, boys. I just saw your guys' text. We'll bring that back next week when we have some time to kind of think about it. But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight here on 48 Minutes. It's been great catching up with you guys. And like I said, we're super stoked for Tim. We'll be filling in for him for the next couple weeks. And we'll be back with a full court heave next week and more news. And we're going to be treading on to All-Star Weekend. So it's about to get real serious. And also, the best part of the season, trade deadline. I love it.
Absolutely.
So that's coming up too. So we'll be back next week.
Hey, before you sign off, Sean,
Yeah.
I just noticed there were some more comments on there. I just want to read down them real quick. It looks like they were on here while we were talking about the whole Laker debacle. My man Donald said on here, he said the refs are human too. Bron was crying too much. I was like, I definitely get the refs are human. You should probably tell that to all the Bengals fans right now that are complaining about their loss last night.
Too soon, Josh. Too soon.
And then he also said that Pat Bev's technical was the best one he's ever seen. Absolutely hilarious what Pat Bev did with the camera and brought it over to the ref. I actually applauded him for doing that. I thought it was kind of funny. But again, they didn't win. And then he just posted something about being rewarded for entering the dunk contest. I'm sure next week when we talk about, the trade deadline, we can add some stuff in about the All-Star game too, and we'll address all that then. So
$5 million to the winner.
Thanks for joining us, Donald.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right. We'll be signing out. You guys have a great evening. We'll be back next week.
See you guys later.